In 5, 4, 3,
2, 1. Did it right? Do it right?
You guys do it right? Hey guys, how's it going? Nick Campbell here. With me as always is
David Steele.
And we are Rhythm and Wit. We have a very special guest with us. Very funny, Daryl Felsberg.
What's going on?
Did not mean to ruin your little intro. I wanted this episode to be special.
Yeah, so you did it right off the top. Man.
It's just a silly thing, anyways. It's not even like I include it in the episode. It's like it's not, in real TV it would be like not actually in the show.
I like how you called it real TV.
Right, yeah. Well, I used to work in TV, so
someone's bragging for a man that's got a tie on.
That's like where this whole thing came from. As far as I work for the news, so like I watched them do it every day. So I'm like, I can do that. You just get some cameras and some lights. That's all you need. So here we are.
It doesn't take much. It really doesn't.
News adjacent.
And then you put it on the YouTube as the new television.
Yeah, that's my TV. That's what I watch.
Absolutely.
That's what I watch. I don't really watch. Nobody watches TV. I mean, Tubi maybe.
The irony of it is now I do watch live TV through Hulu.
Yeah,
and I still driving here. When I'm on the highway, I watch TV.
Yeah, not on the highway.
I do. I mean, because it's a straight line.
To it.
Yeah. I can listen. I can watch.
Absolutely.
And FXX plays The Simpsons from about 1 o'clock on.
Right.
Except on Fridays it's all day, and Saturdays it's all day, and then they'll play Bob Burgers from 4:30 on. And if it's a comedy, especially an animated comedy like that, an adult comedy, well, those are the two. And King of the Hill. King of the Hill is
still
I am Hank Hill.
Yeah.
I mean, that is everything in my life. Is
like
that
the barbecue and stuff.
Texas, that's it. Whataburger, the whole 9 yards. I have a wife and a kid and a dog, and my dog's very special to me. Yeah. It's I do have my neighbors. I do. If I'm home, I'm usually home during the week, and I'll sit on the back deck, or I open the garage door and I'll sit on the driveway, and I live on a cul-de-sac, and I wait for my neighbors who have 9 to 5s. When they come in, I say hello, and once in a while they'll come over and have a beer or whatever. Yeah. And I don't drink, but I'll have a Coke or whatever with them.
So. Are you strictly propane
stuff? Well, propane and propane accessories.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm an offset wood guy. So, but you use propane for other things. You got to run a griddle or a boiler.
Yeah,
if you're going to do a little country boil,
like the easiest way. You just turn it on and bam, you're cooking.
I'm just not much of a griller, quote unquote.
Yeah, okay.
I'm a smoker.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm a midnight brisket toker. I just made that up. I don't know.
Texas and their barbecue. I mean, can you speak to that? I mean,
I can speak to actually. Yes. That's why I'm handicapped now and have congestive heart failure is because of my Texas ways. Third generation, actually second generation. Yeah, because third generation came from Arkansas. And then prior to that, Germany. So, put that in your notes. We'll talk about that later.
Germany? We're straight to that. What part?
Bavaria. I did have family there that left in 1945 because some shit went down. And they moved to Australia from when I've been, and opened up a winery, and they're distant. I don't know of them. So, yeah.
You don't keep up with them?
No. I don't.
Not that side.
Not checking in with them, literally. Yeah. So,
Were they into uniforms? No.
Yeah.
Well, it's very interesting. I mean, the time that we actually spent together where I met you was at your festival that you do, the Tower City Comedy Festival. The most amazing festival I've ever been to. You've never been there.
Best city in Texas.
Coolest hats.
Jamie Campbell.
Sweet. Actually, pretty good ice cream place. The gelato spot. What is that?
It's Sunday in Paris.
Yeah.
Sunday in Paris. It's an ice cream shop.
So do you live in Paris? Is that okay? Cool.
Yeah, I live in Paris, Texas.
Right.
I moved there in 2008. I'd be closer to my in-laws.
Okay.
And then just stayed.
Yeah. And then kind of, did you what's the comedy scene? Is there like a comedy scene? Did you have a club
I'm
there?
the comedy scene. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what I was getting at was like you kind of fostered this comedy community and it's like bring some sort of comedy to that city, obviously with the festival too.
Yeah. I started stand-up in Amarillo, and that's where I was living at the time. Yeah. And I lived there from 95 to 2008. And we had a club. Kelly Moran owned the club, and he was a comic, a good comic. And Kelly, when I started doing open mic, and we're guessing 2002-ish, maybe 2001. I can't seem to pin that date. Everybody has that birth date of when they started.
Right.
I can't pin it for whatever reason. Yeah. And I can tell you exactly how it went, what happened, and what I did. I went for 6 weeks on Wednesday night to open mic night. I sat in the back of the room and I never said a word. I just sat there and watched everybody go up. And then by the 7th week, I had already written out what I thought was 5 minutes of good material. And I had studied and learned and watched and listened. And then when it came time, I saw the local weatherman off of one of the ABC affiliate. His name was Tony Durda, Durda, I believe was his last name. And Tony went up and did a guest set, or the open mic, did a set, and had a bunch of people there with them, and they were laughing. They were just eating it up, and it was terrible.
But that was like like we were talking about before we recorded with the TikTokers, it's like that's who they saw on TV every day.
Perhaps so it was the friends at an open mic. Right. Yeah, it was 10 or 12 friends that came to support.
So it's like they just want to see him try comedy for sure.
So I found the MC that was running it, and I was like, "Can I get up there?" He goes, "Well, actually, there's one more after him. If you want to go, I'll slide you in." I was like, "Let's go." Yeah, and I did 5, and you hate to be the guy that says I killed, but I did great. And I was like, okay, I'm this is it. I want to do this. And I remember going home and telling my wife that I did this and I did that, and it was fun, and I want to do it again. And she's like, okay, yeah, go back. Anything to, you as a man, I was probably 28 when I started, you go in and out of hobbies. Yeah. We were talking about music. I played guitar and I did all that. I looked for things to do,
to find that thing.
Nothing fit, and then this became fun. So I would go back. And then I started going on the weekend and watch the professionals, the headliners and the feature. And when the first show was done, I saw an MC on that show and then another comic who's just hanging around there start picking up glasses. They were busting tables. And I got up and started busting tables too. And one of them said, "You don't have to do that." And I was like, "Oh no, I don't mind. I want to help out." And I don't even take my dishes back home when I leave them on the table and shit, But there I was like, I was picking up glasses and taking them because I was watching them. They had to flip the room for the next show. And that's how much we were into it. And then I got to go up and MC my first weekend. And I think it was 6 weeks after that, I did a second weekend, and then the owner died. When he died, the family, they couldn't run. They didn't want to run it. Kelly had passed away and in fact, I think he was on the road when he passed. He was a comic, and they shut it down. So then another comic opened up a venue in Amarillo called the Lone Star Comedy Club. And I got in as quick as I could with him. It was like, I will do whatever you need me to do. I will MC. I'll do whatever. And he was like, okay. He goes, well, if you want to MC, it's $25 for the weekend. Just you need to be here this time. And I went and I learned, and he made me kind of a house MC where I was there almost every weekend because I was reliable. I was an adult and I did a good job and I was funny and I was hungry. And the headliners would come through and I would start to make friendships and relationships, and I would start working with guys and got to know them. And then as time would go on, I could start reaching out. This is before the only social media we had at the time was MySpace. Facebook. Back when you could only have a certain number of friends, in your list. And then, so I kept in touch with all them, to this day.
Through social media.
Eddie Ift is still to this day one of the first guys I worked with, and we're good friends. He'll be coming to our festival this year. And Eddie, I remember I did at the time, one of my previous, I had a small business, and I had invested in another one. And I became a partner in a minor league hockey team. And this was several years prior to getting into comedy, and then while I was in comedy. And I did a lot of the marketing for our team. And in fact, that's how I knew Oklahoma City. We played against the Blazers. We were in the CHL with them as well. We all had NHL affiliations. We had an affiliation with Carolina Hurricanes, and at one point in time, the Dallas Stars. So we had guys that would come back and forth. And so I would be able to travel with that here and there. So I would do stand up and what have you. So Eddie was enamored with the fact that I had a ownership in a hockey team, and it was called the Amarillo Gorillas, and it was rather successful, especially in the merchandise and marketing of it. It was really cool. And I'll be honest, the only reason why I got that way was because I was a young man who thought he had more money than he did. And all my partners had deep pockets. Yeah. So 2 years in, we got to make payroll. We need $60,000 this week. Everybody's got to kick in 15 grand. We got to make a cash call. Okay. I can do it once. I can do it twice. I have a newborn son. I don't have any money. I'm running out. So I said, if we need money, we buy these jerseys and kits. So like you get you're away, you're home, and a third alternative logo, a third if you will. And then you get specialty jerseys, one for Christmas, one for New Year's Day, one for Thanksgiving, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Let the boys wear them. At the end of that game, I'll auction them off live in our little bar that we have up there, because we get 200 people that come up, 300 people after a game. And I would go up there so that I would not have to make a cash call. Yeah. So I'm selling jerseys, man. I'm getting $800, $1,000 a hit for them. Wow. And then I'm writing material and jokes and ideas. And when somebody when a player, I'd have them bring it up, and there would be just a hack bid of, okay, we're going to start the bidding at $500. Okay. If we can start at $1,000 though, we'll throw Jim in or whatever, that kind of stuff. And it was hack shit, but it sold jerseys so that I wouldn't have to pony up any more money and we could pay our bills that week or whatever. Cool.
And still, like, you're using that kind of stand-up experience to, like, you're not nervous about doing that.
Oh God, no. That's where it started. In fact, that's kind of Chris Miller, who ran the Amarillo Civic Center. He booked all the concerts, all the comedians and what have you. And he pulled me aside and said, "Why don't you do stand up?" Right. Okay. And I was like, I just never thought about it.
So that was before you had started even. Okay. I got you.
So that, and then like music and, and making up the lyrics like we were talking about earlier. Yeah. That's kind of where it started. Yeah. That's where it really
made sense in a way. And you just didn't realize that's where, where you're supposed to be. It was on stage telling jokes. That's awesome. Yeah. Just,
and I would go to the end. I mean, like I would find like their junior cards, when they played in the juniors, like in Canada and Europe, and they were kids, they were boys. And so I would get these cards and I'd buy them on eBay or whatever, get them shipped in. And then they hadn't seen them in 5 years, 10 years, but they're little boys, and I would start the jersey auction, and as we get a little higher and start to level, I said, I'll throw in a junior's card, and then we would throw the picture of them up on top, where they would see him, and there's pimples and shit. Because all these dudes, man, they were snagging tail left and right. My wife hated when I would have to hang out with them, and because I would babysit them around town in the bars because they would become a mess. Golfing with them was a chore and a joy.
The superstars.
Yeah. Oh, they were heroes, especially when we bought the team. It was in defunct, and we had to pay like federal liens. We had to pay. It cost us $1 million to acquire this team, plus the ice plant and everything else. And when we did, and we got it all put together, we put together a hell of a team. We were in the playoffs. We were a small market. Right. Oklahoma City, they had built the Ford Center. It used to be the Cox Center at one point in time, and the Ford Center part of that. They used to play in the Garden there. What was the name of the Garden?
It was
right next to it, across from the Sheraton Marriott Gardens.
I think that's what they just tore down. Actually, they're building a new bigger stadium for the basketball team there.
The Thunder before Katrina, that was built to entertain the NHL. They were going to put an NHL franchise because the Blazers had been here for decades. They were extremely successful. It was the name of that company. They own a tennis. They own several teams. I can't remember which. Something sports. Something. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. But I remember going to the Ford Center when it first opened. We had the CHL All-Star game, and we were up in the suites, the owner's suites, and we were amazed at this facility that was built for the Blazers to entice the NHL to plant a team there. And the NHL couldn't, they had the lockout. Then there was some financial issues. They weren't going to expand any. And so the city was left with this. And then I hate to say it, but Katrina, if you want to say thanks for Katrina, is how the Thunder stayed here.
They brought the Hornets over for like one season, and then it was like, oh shit, people actually want to see basketball here, and so that's when blew up. And here we are now.
Unbelievable! That's right. The Sonics,
they were the Super Sonics, and then turned to the Thunder.
Yeah, but that's how that came from the Central Hockey League way back in 2001. I didn't realize that. I may have heard that back in the day, but I just didn't realize. I remember the Katrina thing with the Hornets and all that. So that was we would travel from Amarillo to come here quite a bit, and the whole point of all that, by the way, was we were in such a small market that we were having to compete against these other major markets. We would have to fly our guys to Indianapolis, or we would have to fly them to Tucson, or into Phoenix or whatever, because Phoenix before Gretzky got involved, that was an AHL team and originally a CHL team. And so we were having, it was tough. We didn't quite have the same budget. We didn't have the same market to pull from.
You couldn't really
but we were in the playoffs every year. And we would have mascot of the year, and our marketing was right. It was the Amarillo Gorillas. So like season tickets were a few bananas. We would have a 65 and older club called the Silverbacks, and then you had the Chimps, which were the kids. We had
really do a lot with that. That's awesome.
My favorite one of all is my partners and I got together. It's somebody sourced foam bananas from China. And so we bought thousands of them, and then we would sell them at the souvenir stand. And then anytime the Gorillas scored, you would feed them a banana. So they would hurl bananas on the ice, and then we had these kids who would come out and gather them all up in these big forks and like rake them into a corner, and then they take them back upstairs, and then we recycle them, sell them again, over and over. And then I was like, you know what? Those kids are on the ice. They all need matching shirts. We need to call that the Reed Appliance Kids Club. So then we would go and pitch. Sponsors. I sold everything I could. I would sell their jerseys. As far as like logos and stuff, on the ice, banners, whatever we could. We were going to make sure that we optimized every dollar.
You live a whole other life outside of comedy. Is that where you cut your teeth on marketing and promoting?
Comedy. It was brilliant.
That's amazing.
Out of absolute necessity and fear. I had no college education, and it was going to bankrupt me, and it was the most expensive hobby I ever had in my life.
You learned a lot. It was a good education, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. Invaluable information that I'm able to apply today.
It sounds like you loved it too.
I did. It was fun.
It sounds like it was.
Sure, it was fun. Think about it.
I love every angle that you were like, everybody's got to have a shirt.
We got to do something. I would get like jock straps, that were clean, brand new, just for fun. Had a voice on it, and then nobody knew. I would pull it out of my pocket and auction it off or something like that. Just dumb shit,
That's awesome.
But it was fun. But that's where comedy came from, was standing on the stage trying to sell jerseys so that we wouldn't have to pay our workman's comp bill out of our pockets next month.
Well, starting at, you say you started around 28. Right? Is that when
my age? Yeah, that's about 28.
Right. So whenever you got to actually do comedy, you're actually, you said 6 weeks out, you were starting to do some emceeing and then actually getting picked up and then regularly emceeing.
Yeah, and then I started featuring at the Hyenas a couple months, about 2 months after that.
Nice, man. Yeah. So you just got into the groove pretty quick.
Hard and fast, put material together. Then there was a natural link. And so at the time I aligned myself with good people too. So when I did something good, it was okay to ask them, hey, can you help me get into this venue? And that's something that I miss today that I don't do enough of, is the networking. That's kind of like you were getting at, is that I'm in such an isolated market. If you're done here, when we're done with this, you can go to Bricktown.
Yeah.
You can go to, well, you used to be able to go to Looney Bin,
Right.
or there's 10 other shows that are happening, and there's 25 other comics that I don't have any of that. And I haven't had any of that since 2008. Everything is long distance.
So now you're having to rely on travel and touring and things like that.
You have to rely on long distance relationships and hoping that they're still there to get you in.
Right.
So this new generation, they don't know me other than the old dude that has the comedy club in Paris, Texas, and has the festival that they don't know. Half of them don't even know I'm a comic.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah. It's true until they do a little digging. And I think you find that out about most like club owners and bookers. There's some that I had no clue they were comics and they were good.
Yeah.
They just didn't like the lifestyle.
Or it's just like one of those things. I feel like we know a lot of comics, or there's quite a few comics around here that's like they've been doing it 20 years, or sometimes more. But you get to that point and it's like, well, where are you after that time? It's like, you're not like, headlining, big clubs necessarily. I mean, you might probably get to do it and get to work, but then it's like, okay, I think a lot of people in that after that time, it's like, well, let me start a club, expand it out and try to,
or booking or producing,
right? Do something different, staying within the community and in that world. But it's like, well, you're not Dave Chappelle, or you're not like massively huge like you always wanted. But
I think what a lot of people end up doing though, is they forget that applying real world business applications to stand-up comedy is extremely viable.
Yeah.
But the problem is most people get into stand-up comedy, they're not good business people. That's why they ended up in stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
They can't manage themselves. They can't manage the things they do. You have your own business. Prior to stand-up, I had my own business, and it was so some of that I was more mature. Okay. Now everybody has some sort of funny in them. Okay. Some are bigger than others. Some are better than others.
Yeah.
Now they have to be able to create the application. And a lot of people, they don't have enough in them. They're mature, they're whatever. So going back to the beginning where I was kind of heading with all that is that, when I started out full time, I had 2 children, I had a home, cars. You have all these things that
you're responsible.
You had to go out and make the money.
Right.
So you make money from doing shows. Well, if that's not enough, I have to add another spoke to the wheel. So then you have merchandise.
Right.
Okay. So then you get clever about it. You put together good merchandise. Then you realize that you can produce shows. So then I realized if I'm going to produce shows, they need to be running when I'm running. So if I'm performing on stage, if I've got other shows performing elsewhere, I'm making money there. Okay, then I learned to make money online. Then I learned to make money writing, comedy. Like most people who are good writers end up like, punching up scripts or helping out with that stuff. I went straight to marketing. Yeah, I started writing billboards, like comedy billboards, or what have you, for like restaurants and things like that. And then that even parlayed itself into the political realm, which I fooled with for several years. Yeah, when I first started stand-up,
marketing for
putting together
politicians,
putting together programs. I had District 2 in Oklahoma. I had a guy that was running against a Democrat incumbent there, and we met with Michael Steele, the Republican Party at the time, and I'm not affiliated either way, but we did some big things. So
that's cool.
I learned all that through stand-up. So anyway,
how'd you approach them? But you were just like, I'm funny, I could help you.
They started coming for me because at the time, building websites, most comics I figured out how to do a little bit of coding, and then you learn how to do plug and play. So you do some websites, you learn how to do a little bit of Photoshop work. And so you do some layouts and they say, hey, we saw where you did this for that. Can you do this for us? I said, yeah. And I can do content. We can do this. We can do that. And then utilize strategy and and now you're part of this small campaign or whatever. And most of them do okay or whatever. But
yeah, that was you're making money from whatever happens. It doesn't matter.
You
got paid.
There's big money in that. There's an industry 20% margin that's given to the marketing company. I would do buys for TV that the campaigns would get pretty aggressive, and he would tell me, say, we need you to spend this with Suddenlink, for example. We were buying in cable markets. I need you to give me $100,000 worth of spots. We're basically buying every spot on some of these marketing networks, and by doing so, like, well, it's good. 20% is what it costs for the buy. He goes, okay, I'm going to give you $120,000, $100,000 that you apply, $20,000 of it's yours.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. Very good. Yeah, I'll go do your I'll go do your show in Oklahoma City for 3 people at a winery or whatever. that's how you can afford to do that at that time,
For sure.
And then I stopped doing it because I didn't like the politics side of it. It broke my heart because you would find good people trying to do a good thing, and you're in the midst of a battle with people who are not, and it's just I hate it all together. So I'm grateful I'm not.
You get too invested.
You definitely
don't want to be any part of it.
Start to get burnt out on.
I hate it all the way around.
It's like or similarly, or somewhat similarly. I always think about when I worked at the news. It was just so depressing working for something like that. Whenever you're just as local news, but it's just like every story is just so bad and just people dying, and you just see that every day, and you're like, I can't keep doing this.
You desensitized to it,
exactly.
But then something happens and it hits home. You're like, and then that's when that's my problem. If I watch the news now, if there's a tornado I see somewhere, I'm like, man, I'm like, I need to go there and help them. That's how bad I'll go to that other end. What can we do to help them? And it's like, shit, just settle down. There's 11 of them that dropped today.
That is a problem with watching too much news too, because it's like you get so invested in it, and it's like, what are you actually going to do? You can't do anything about.
They need your money. They need your time. They've got people to do all the work.
So I don't know.
Back to the original point. When I was talking, I apologize. When I learned how to start producing shows and they were running while I was on stage, then it made whatever I was doing that weekend so much easier because then I knew, okay, I have this room working, It's like tomorrow night I'll be on stage at a venue in Durant and I have 3 other shows going on at the same time. Okay. So now we're not just making a living, we're making a life. We're trying to, it's tough. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, it ebbs and flows right now. What's happening? We don't know with gas prices and everything else, I mean, we're already hearing it like, our sponsors for our festival are usually automatic. There's never an issue. They always renew. And then we add a couple more. I'm having to work harder this year. I've already heard it because some of the bigger industries that rely on hard goods, metals, et cetera, we're hearing the tariffs is an issue. This is an issue. That's an issue. We've been given memorandums to not spend anything more than this. Sorry, you're going to have to check back with us. I'm like, well, okay. So, but anyway, you got to be prepared for that. And it doesn't matter how many jokes you tell. There's just not going to be enough. And that landscape's changed too. Without going too far into that, it started in COVID, and this is my camera here. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So this is old man telling old stories about comedy. You kids listen. So when COVID hit, we all were shut down, but all the B and C rooms that, guys like me would go in and do stand up and work, all the loony bins and the hyenas and all these great rooms that are B rooms were going silent. They were going dark. Then they were allowed to operate at 25%. Okay. When they were allowed to operate at 25% in Texas and in Arkansas and Oklahoma, I was in. Everybody in the West Coast was out. But I, at that point, we had gone far enough into the virus, in my opinion, that we knew the precautions we needed to take and we could safely move forward. And, we would mask and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then I would start doing those. But then some of the other big comics, like Brian Regan, theater guys were like, I got to get on stage. So they would contact those clubs. I have texts I can show you from 2 different club owners that most comics will know that say, hey, what I'm able to get right now. Just chill and we'll get you back in here before long. Because they were getting the Brian Regans, they were getting Dave Chappelle's, they were getting these comics that they would never be able to get because West Coast was shut down, the East Coast was shut down. They were bringing him into the Central States, and they were working the loony bins and the hyenas.
Well, they were doing it here at Bricktown too, and you were seeing people that would never come to Oklahoma.
Oh, the Grove, and that's where I saw that a lot. Was Brian Regan came to the Grove in Lowell, Arkansas. Whoa! Well, that takes everybody. Everybody in the shoot has now been pushed down.
Yeah.
So when you start scrambling, you're like, okay, you're sending avails, you're waiting for clubs to hit you back. And they're like, hey, you're just going to have to wait. Well, it takes years to get into that cycle. So now we get into that cycle 2 years after, and the Brian Regans go back to the theaters, and all the big comics go back to the theaters. The Shane Gillis and the Tom Segura's, they go back to those. And now you have these clubs that are still booking A-roomers, the guys, the improv level, and they're still keeping up. But you get into the cycle, and you're in the rotation, and then all of a sudden I get sick, where I have a health issue and I have to cancel like 9 months worth of work. I mean, when I went to the hospital, I remember the first night I was in bed, I was going through my phone because they kept taking my phone from me. And I was like, oh, we got to email this. We had to email my agent. We had to email all these venues and cancel all these gigs. And when you do that, even no matter if it's an emergency or not, and they all love you, you still can't get back in.
Yeah,
it's like the Funny Bones. I love the two that are in St. Louis, Westport. Matt Behrens is terrific. They're great up there. Since I got sick, I've been able to get back in. It's been 2 years, and it's like, gosh, come on. And it could be, again, you're taken out of the rotation. So what does that force you to do? You start booking some stuff on your own, and now you start creating, but for the right reason. I've been around long enough. I'm a good enough comic, and I have a little bit of a draw, so I can go into some of these markets, buy some ads, and then start doing shows. Yeah. And that's kind of what we're doing. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll do those other clubs all day long in the little theaters. I love them. Yeah. But we do what we got to do.
It's a common occurrence. It's Friday afternoon, you just finished up a long work week, and now you're wondering what to do with your weekend here in OKC. Your friends started hitting you up, and they're looking to you to suggest something fun to do. Luckily, you listen to the Rhythm Wit Podcast and remember their weekly video series, Upcoming Events with Heidi Fitz on YouTube, where myself and podcast host David Still break down our picks for the most fun and interesting local music, comedy, and art shows going on every week. Not only that, there are clips from the video posted nearly each and every day on Instagram and Facebook where you can get the information quickly, share it with your friends, and find out if they'd be into a particular show that you're interested in. So catch Upcoming Events with Heidi Fitz on the Rhythm Wit YouTube channel and stay up to date on the most fun and interesting local music, comedy, and art shows OKC has to offer.
And we're back. That was quick, but...
well, that's interesting. So, as far as they know you're back now, so are you just building on your own thing now? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I get into some. There's some that are extremely loyal, and there's some that. But here's something that I forgot. I got lazy with it because for 15 years or whatever it was, I had the same 35 weeks a year at the same clubs.
Set up and ready to go.
The Looney Bins were a good example. There were 4 of them in my backyard. And Jeff Jones would book me once a year, even at a feature spot.
But it's interesting. I think that's the thing with COVID is like it disrupted the entire world. I mean, in so many different aspects.
Are we back to that again?
Well, it's just like as far as what you were saying, with you getting sick and like losing all that. But I think that happened to so many people in different ways because of that.
Well, that's what you have to remember is it happened to so many people. So stop taking it so personal because I
started my business. We stopped for about a month.
It was just like,
and then it was hard getting back. And then when we finally did, it was the crazy. I sold high-end COVID service, so I would come in with gloves and do the mask thing and have people wait in the room, and then
that's funny.
And then but then I would go to somebody's house and be like, "You believe in that crap?" I was like, "Well, not if you don't, as long as your money spends."
Let me take these gloves off here. You know what? That's funny because in 2015, I bought. I say I bought my wife, but I bought our family an olive oil store. It's an olive oil and balsamic tasting room. The couple started, they were doctors and they wanted to sell it. And so I bought it. And my wife, that's what she basically does. When COVID hit, we had to shut it down. And I was like, I said, let's pivot it and we'll make it a necessary business, an essential business. I was like, okay, so how can we, we have to have a grocery item. So I started carrying high-end beef. So I was bringing in Wagyu ribeyes, Wagyu briskets. I had Wagyu tomahawks, selling the tomahawks for $100 a hit or whatever. Nice. So I was bringing all this high-end beef, and I go, we're a grocery store now. Come on in. And they did. They came in. Yeah. We did deliveries. We make, comedy commercials about it, about doing a safe delivery, putting it on the porch. And then, like my son, it's a great video. I'll show it. It shows him packing it all, putting it the products that they're ordering the bag, taking the bag to the person's porch, spraying it with Lysol. There's just a music bed. And then he stands back about 3 feet. And the music stops and he goes, Mrs. Jones, or whatever her name was, your order's here. And then the music was starting, he'd walk off. And it was such a hit that people were like, this is fun. We're going to come to the store. We're going to place orders. But
that's great.
Yeah, it took a while to get people back on that. So anyway, COVID's done.
Had to get creative, man. Had to get creative.
Yeah, that's what
it sounds like that's what you do.
Yeah.
I mean, you were a very good comedian, ideas. But at this point, it's like, I think you're just a better at being flexible.
How dare you?
I love that.
In other words, stop, stand up. You're not good at it.
I just need you to help me with my electrical business if you would. I'm going to get shirts,
marketing ideas.
Maybe get the kids involved, throw bananas.
I've been trying to get him. We need to I want to make him a commercial just for me, just to practice doing commercials, for shooting them and stuff like that. But it's like it's busy trying to find the time to do.
Well, that's why how you shoot it. He's busy, so that's a great angle for a commercial. Right. We would love your business, but we're too busy for your business.
Yeah,
we're too busy for your business.
Just cut it off.
Sorry,
busy.
I like it.
Yeah, but I'm not. So say what's up.
Yeah, our prices will shock you.
It's a family company. You know. We try. I got my son doing it now. So he's 16.
See, my son was raised in comedy. Yeah. It's funny because he was raised in hockey. He was raised in comedy, and he's been in more green rooms than most comics have. And I would take. It was a good time. Like during the summer, he didn't have school, and hey, I got to go to Florida for a week and a half, and I'm going to drive. And it's not that I would let him drive. Right. Actually, I let nobody drive. I always just drive.
Yeah,
but just the idea of having somebody there. Yeah. And I don't even talk. I don't even play music when I drive. I'm in silence.
Oh, wow.
But it's like, okay, because our thing at the time was we'd go eat,
Yeah.
Till I got sick. That was the thing. It was like stand up and then go eat.
Yeah.
And then I was gaining weight and didn't realize how fat I was getting because I just constantly. That was our only mission. It wasn't do anything else. It was like, hey, you want to go eat? Yeah, let's go fucking eat. And then we go find someplace to eat, and do that. So he was always my little ride or die when it came to eating, But he would go to the comedy club and he would. Funny story. He works in my room in Paris, so we don't. If somebody starts acting up, we don't want me to go talk to him. Okay, because we don't want. I'll end up on stage, and I will, and I have before, but let's keep me from doing it because when I do it. It's typically final, especially if I go on stage. If I call somebody out in the audience for not listening, it's usually not pleasant. I'll make it pleasant eventually, but it's usually not. So same thing in the room. So my son would go first time and say, hey, guys, keep it down. We appreciate you laughing. We appreciate you being here, but you're stepping on punchlines and they can't hear just for everybody else around you. Second time, hey, they're going to make me come back. And if I do, I have to ask you to leave. So this is a 16-year-old kid, and he would go and he'd walk people out, man. And he'd take us, no, just come here for me. I want to talk to you. He'd take him outside. He go, you can't do that. You got to, you're going to have to leave now. And they're already outside. And they're like, well, shit, I guess I got to go.
Yeah.
So he does it on a regular basis. He knows how to control a room. We're in Tucson, Arizona at Laughs Comedy Club. And he's with me and he's sitting in the back of the room and I'm in the green room. The door is open on the green room. So you stand in the doorway and watch the show. I'm watching the show. He's in the back of the room. Somebody's yapping. Somebody's talking. Garrett, my son, it was probably maybe 15, maybe 16. Like Pavlov's dog or something. Something triggers.
Yeah.
He walks up.
Automatic.
He tells the man, he goes, sir, I need you to, keep it down. You're ruining the show for everybody around you. Because I have to come back. They're going to maybe ask you to leave. About that time, Gary Bynum, who's the owner of the club, walks in and goes, hey, what is your son doing? And I look over and I'm like, oh shit. I was like, well, he's doing what your doorman won't do. And he started laughing. And he goes, I'm going to tip him before we leave. I was like, no, don't give him anything. He goes, that's funny. Yeah. And I was like, I said, the problem is he's serious.
Yeah. He's like, he's like,
oh, that's interesting.
It's in his blood.
I met him at your club, right? He works there. And does he do comedy at all?
He tried once. He did very, very well when he was like 11.
Oh, yeah.
And,
nice.
I talked him into it one day.
Yeah.
And I was like, we wrote out a 5-minute set, cute jokes that are kid related, you know. I think one of them was like, my grandfather and I both have a lot in common. Except I'm done losing my teeth. Something that kind of stuff. He was really good. And he went up there and he did it. We videoed it and he killed. Did you know BT, the comic BT? BT's he was in a bunch of TV shows. Anyway, he's a cruise ship comic. He was there. And he was like, "Oh my god!" So because the kid got a standing ovation because he's a kid.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because he's a kid. I mean, come on. I mean, he's funny. Don't get me wrong. But for a kid, it's really good.
Right, exactly.
So they're like, "This is great."
He's been ruined ever since.
Yeah. So we videoed it, and he was like, "It was fun, but I don't have any interest in doing it." Never did it again.
Wow.
Never did it again.
But he lives in the ecosystem so well.
He's in it. Yeah. He's
kind of obviously he loves it from a different. That's like me. I'm a musician. I love performance and that kind of stuff. And I love watching comedy. I love the concept of it. It's like I don't want to be a comedian. He's always asking me, when are you going to go up? I'm like, at this point, I'm probably not. Because he's been doing it 4 years, and I've been kind of following him, taking his pictures, doing video, all the extra stuff that I like to do.
It's pretty gay, yeah.
Well, we're pretty gay.
But it's like, I love, like I said, I love talking to comics. I love talking about comedy, all this stuff. But it's like, I don't mean, maybe I'll try it. Like I said, I always say that, but I think
everybody should, because I'll tell you,
I do agree with
somebody says, well, music, I do that music. No, you don't. Usually you're with the band, and if you're not with the band, you're typically hiding behind an instrument.
Right.
The beautiful thing about playing a guitar is if I flub vocally, the instrument will continue to carry me.
Yeah.
Well, in stand up, you're the instrument and the vocal, and there's nothing you can do.
Right.
So I think everybody should do it. Should do it once. Go do a set.
For sure.
Do some public speaking.
Yeah.
That's where the confidence it builds in a person is tremendous. And then it helps them so much, because like even with my son, he may not do stand up, but he has no problem starting the show. He'll do this. He'll go up in front of the house and do the show rules, and hey, keep it down. We got some upcoming shows. We're doing this. We're doing that. Do me a favor, welcome the MC to the stage, and then that person takes the show from there. He's done that. And then when he went off to college, that gave him the confidence, because that was the other thing too. I'm physically a big guy, and in performance I'm a big guy, and there's a shadow that's cast, and he was in that shadow. When he went to college and he was gone, he got involved in his fraternity, became vice president, whatever. And by his last year, when I went to go visit him during football season, during senior day or whatever it was, everybody stopped at the tailgate, because the fraternities would have the big tents and the big parties on the tailgate, and the parents would go and I'd hang out and I'd sit in the chair, and all his little buddies, it's Mr. Felsberg, the comedian. They all want to come over. We watched your video. We saw this. They would come see me when I would travel, wherever they lived at home. But when Garrick was there, the amount of people that would walk up to him and talk to him, and the girls that would come over and see him that would run across. All of a sudden, my son was a big man on campus. And I'm like, where did this little dork get back in my shadow? Where did this come from? And I like to attribute to it being, around comics and seeing what people do and how we do it. He's had the joy of being around TJ Miller, or being around Gallagher himself. We worked with Gallagher. Chris Kattan, Tim Meadows, these Saturday Night Live guys. He's been around all those guys. He sat in the green room with Jimmy Pardo multiple times. We've eaten dinner and had Michael Winslow stay at our house.
Wow.
And Michael Winslow loves kids. That sounds creepy, but he's childlike in nature, and he loves. Like my son at the time was into Transformers, and Winslow was making explosions and stuff and things happening, and anytime he would move, he'd make the sounds, and we would go, we toured together, and so if he grabbed the microphone, Winslow would make this do different sounds.
Yeah.
Like if you go to slide it over, he would just. I'm like, would you just stop?
Yeah.
It's just like that all the time.
Yeah,
You just can't turn it off for sure.
Each go to open a bottle and they had to keep unscrewing. And I was like, I'm going to open that for you in just a second. I'll never forget. We were in Highland Park at some restaurant, a very high end restaurant in Dallas, and they had this stainless steel sugar dispenser. It was like a sphere. You would open it with a little. It had a little thing you would open, and they would have bags of sugar in it, and then you would close it for your tea. And it looked like Mars the Martian. And then that's all it took. I'm making sugar. I was like, it's like you're an adult,
awesome.
dude. Can you stop for 20 minutes?
So what is he like at a funeral? That's the
right.
Somebody's talking out of that cabinet.
I don't know, man. He's a sweet guy. He and I got pulled over one time. And this was right after Ferguson.
Yeah.
So so African Americans were a little scared, and rightfully so. And I pack, and so I had a gun in the car. Michael and I have had this discussion multiple times about carrying a gun because he lives in Orlando, and I would go to Florida, and I would just have my gun with me there. And you travel around a bit as a comic, I'd been in hotel rooms where other people have walked in, and they weren't supposed to. So. And it was nefarious. Okay, they were making their way in without a key. So anyway, Michael and I had plenty of discussions, so he knew I had it.
Yeah.
When I got pulled over, he was losing his mind. He was like, "You got a gun?" And I was like, "Hey, everything will be fine." He goes, "You're not black." I was like, "I realize that. Just chill for a minute. Everything will be just okay. I'll handle everything." Cop comes to the window, and I knew exactly what to do. I was like. He goes, I'm sorry. He goes, for driving too fast. He goes, so we're heading to a show at a theater in, I think maybe in Tyler, Texas. He said, we're going to Tyler, Texas. He goes, what show? And I said, well, I knew he would know who I am. So I'm like, well, my name is Daryl Felsberg. I'm a comedian. So you may have seen me on Last Comic Standing, whatever. I said, and this is Michael Winslow from the Police Academy movies. And then you saw him pull his sunglasses off and look at him. He goes, no kidding. I was like, no, that's him. And then Michael's like, hello. And the dude went and ran my license. He goes, I'm going to run your license. If there's no problems, I'll let you guys go with a warning, as I appreciate you guys being respectful. Comes back. He says, listen, he gives me the warning. He gives me my license. He goes, this is not obligatory by any means, but can I get a selfie with you guys? I was like, absolutely. Why wouldn't you? And you take him back to the boys downtown and tell him you were with Hightower, whatever his name was in the. I don't remember what his name was in the in the show. He's shooting that the second Spaceballs.
Oh,
is he?
Cool.
He's shooting it right now.
Oh, that's so cool.
Spaceballs 2. Or they're calling it the one for the money or something like that.
Search for more money.
Yeah, search for more money. That's what I was thinking.
So good.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. He's
awesome.
making sounds with his mouth right now as we speak.
That's incredible.
Yeah, making money his whole life with that. That's amazing.
Unbelievable. And shows are great.
Yeah.
They're great if you watch them. But so my kid's been around all that. That's where his attitude comes from. And he's not afraid of the public, I guess. So.
Yeah. So starting the club and doing the festival, is that a way for you to kind of like?
That was my open mic.
That was your open mic. Try to get. All right, I got to get some culture in here. I got to get some.
When I started, like for example, my son would play football. When he was on JV, it was on Thursday nights. So Friday and Saturday nights, comedy clubs, no problem. So I go on the road. I do Thursday, catch a game. Friday, Saturday, and they were great because if he played like by the Metroplex, then I could see the game, and then Friday morning catch a flight, go to the club, come back home. Everything was great. Then he started playing Friday nights. So then that would split the nights. We went to varsity. So then I would have to like do a regional show on Thursday, nothing Friday, and then try to pick something up Saturday. So I went to a lot of independent rooms. That became a bit of a issue. So if I had my own room, then if I needed to do something on stage and stay home for a weekend, I could do that. That's one of the things once every 18 months to 2 years, I will do a show there that we promote as me. Otherwise, I'm doing a 10 to 15 minute guest set and nobody knows I'm going up. Nobody needs to know. It's not that big of a deal. It's me working something out or recycling something or just keeping the chops till the next weekend when I go out. Yeah. When I go to Oklahoma City for 3 people. And then I'm ready to go. 15 minutes of jokes to each person. Yeah, no, we're going to have a great crowd tonight. You'll see. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we record the whole thing. There's
not this show.
Well, that's really awesome because so you basically made your. I got to get some practice.
But that's similar to why you started producing shows in general. Was just like
I really
more
like these
stage time. It's just like if he's doing, you stay pretty busy on shows that aren't yours too. But I mean, but with that, and you do like 3 or 4 shows that you produce every month, that's like you're doing at least, maybe 1 or 2 shows every weekend almost.
It's a valid point, as long as it's for the right reason, because what starts out wrong ends up wrong. Right. The biggest reason why comics will start a show is because other people won't book them. Yeah. And they get mad. And we're seeing this happen a lot. I talk to a lot of people, beat up a comedy club, and they before they're ready. In other words, go to a comedy club, you've got 10 minutes in the chamber, you want to MC, okay? And you're like, hey man, I can stretch it, I'm good, I'll tell you, I'll do this. The club owner's like, hey, you're a good person, but I can't put you up yet. And then you go, fuck you. By the way, may I swear?
Yeah, that's fine.
Please do.
Apologize. Just edit that out. So it's like, okay, fine, fuck you. I'm gonna go down here and open up my own, so I get all the stage time. That's the wrong way of doing it, but that's the way it happens. That's the way it happens all the time. I see so many little gatekeepers that are angry at me because I wouldn't put them on my stage, and they keep saying things like, well, I've heard this before. I can't even get booked in Paris. Right. Okay. If they won't even book me there, then I'm not going to do this, or I'm going to do that, whatever. Or he doesn't know what he's doing. Did you look at my lineup? Did you look at my headliner next week is guaranteed $4,000 to show up. Why am I going to headline you? Do you not? First of all, it's offensive almost because you're mad because I won't give you a spot, not understanding. You have to know your role. You have to know where you're at. I'm no fool. I know where I'm at. I've been doing it for a long time, but it's like a good example is the new Looney Bin in Tulsa. When Jeff died, I was headlining that room. Okay. I can't even get into the room. And at first I was upset because here's this guy who's not in our industry who buys this club and he's running it. And at first I'm upset. Now I've grown to understand that his headliners that he's booking are people that are way above me in terms of marketability. I wouldn't say talent, okay, but they're really, really, really good comics. They're really good comics. It's becoming a little A room where it wasn't for a long time. It was a C room to a B room. And it hurts because I spent 10 years working in that club to become a headliner, and then it was taken away. So naturally, I would be upset. Right. And I even thought about going, okay, you know what? I'm going to get with Bark and see about getting into Bricktown. And then I thought, you're doing it for the wrong reason. You're doing it because you're mad because you can't get back in Tulsa. So you know what? Pull it back, chill out, let the cards fall as they may, and there'll be a time that'll open up where they might need you, and we'll go in there. And that was the other thing is he wanted to offer me just a single night. And at the time I wasn't open to that because I wasn't used to doing that. I'm an old school headliner where we got residencies, you know, I'm used to flying in someplace on a Thursday or a Wednesday, doing radio Friday morning, doing one show on Thursday, 2 shows on Friday, 2 shows on Saturday, and Sunday you fly out and you got a pocket full of money and you have an empty merch bag and you're the coolest person in the world. You think it's changed. And now it's all about draw, social media and what have you. So for the longest time, I made fun of everybody who was doing the social media, the little skits and what have you, because there's a lot of bad stuff that people like, but that's what's putting people in the seats. It goes back to what we talked about earlier. So I'm having to compromise. I'm having to relearn how to do that because I don't think that I'm a cerebral. I don't think I'm a brilliant comic by any means, but I don't bring myself to that level where just the words swearing of themselves is comedy because we see a lot of that. If somebody takes the word fuck and it becomes a noun and a verb and an adjective and an adverb, and then a predicate. I mean, it becomes everything in their vernacular. It's not funny to me. Right. But you know what? There's 20 people out there that are not going to come here to come listen to me that think that's funny. Unfortunately. They'll grow out of it. Because I did. When I was a kid, exactly. I listened to comedy. You know, that was when I was a salesperson. I would travel when I was 17, 18 years old, right out of high school. And I had a CD player that had a cassette adapter and it would go into my car, you know? And I would stop and get I got a comedy CD. I think this is when you could buy CDs from Columbia House, 10 for a penny. Yeah. And then you're like, see you later. Right? So anyway, I racked up 11 cents worth of bills with 100 CDs in my collection. Mm-hmm. And the first one was a comedy CD, and it may have been it wasn't Pauly Shore. It wasn't Louise. It was Who's the Cat? No Cure for Cancer was the name of the album. Dennis Leary. Yeah, I remember getting a Dennis Leary CD because an older kid told me about it, and I listened to it. And growing up, my dad was a huge comedy fan, so I watched HBO specials with him. 8 Tracks, Cheech and Chong, Richard Pryor, George Carlin. All those 8 tracks and what have you, I listened to over and over and over again when my dad was away. When my dad worked on offshore rigs. So when he would be gone, I'd listen to him, and then you do it. And so then I would watch Evening at the Improv on Sunday nights on cable. It was on A&E. And I would see Larry Reeb, and I would see Jeff Foxworthy. I would see all these young men. I would see Ron White when they were kids, and I was a child myself watching them. And then, so as I listened to it in the car when I travel, it would start to ingrain itself. So I fell in love with it. Right. It was always there.
Part of your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, but as I grew into it, it became more sophisticated. My palate became more sophisticated.
So it's like you guys consumed so much of it. It's like you kind of started to find, your own voice.
Oh, let me tell you how powerful it is. Okay, I'll tell you exactly how powerful it is. I was raised in a very, very heavy Lutheran home. Parents were German and Nordic, and from Wisconsin on my mother's side of the family, and my father's side of the family, Arkansas. Part of that, Germany, Norway, Sweden, etc. Big Lutheran family. And my dad died when I was 15. Okay. And so when you're a kid like that and your world comes to an end, and we were poor, we had nothing. Right. And we watched the heap evaporating as my mom was going to school to become an LVN and holding it all together. And I was the oldest of 3. And I remember our pastor coming over to our house the day my dad died. Family was there. It was because it was sudden. It was, nobody expected it. Right. He had some back injuries from working on a rig and seemed like he was doing fine. And then just in the middle of the night, passed away. So the next day I remember Pastor Schuster holding my hand. It was like, pray with me. And I was like, oh man, what I'm not happy with that dude right now. He just ended my family life. He just took my dad. I'm a 15-year-old boy. Why am I going to thank him for anything? And time goes on, get a little older, start listening to comedy CDs. George Carlin. I listen to a lot of Carlin. I listen to What Am I Doing in Jersey, Jamming in New York, Carnegie Hall, Carlin on Campus, Parental Advisory. I started listening to all these. And he made me agnostic. He converted me from Lutheran to we're just dirt. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was because of him. It was me listening to late night drives, coming home from work and just spinning it. That's how influential it was. So fast forward to 28, 30 years old, get past the fart jokes, and I go, okay, people listen to you. And so when somebody comes to a show, I don't want them to be offended. I don't want them to take a negative connotation from it. So even though I learned all that and those feelings were invoked by listening to George, when I do that with my audiences, I don't want that. These people are going to come tonight, both of them. These people are going to come tonight. Okay, they're a couple, right? And they're literally a couple, but they had to get a babysitter. And they had to park their car for $20. And she probably may have got an outfit. They're going to go have dinner next door. They're going to drop a bill or two there. They're going to come in here and they're going to spend $20 to come in here. Well, $25, $12.50 a piece to come in here for a show. Okay. They've got $150 invested in the night to come see me and you. And if all we're doing up there is telling them how we think politically and what they should think and how this is dark and this is bad and this is this and this is that, and people say, well, that's what comics are good for. You just ruined their night. Because let me tell you something. It's not like it was 30 years ago. People say, well, but that's what George did. That's what Richard Pryor did. That's what Lenny Bruce did. That's what they did. Yeah, they did, because there was nothing around the populace to tell them what was really happening except these comics. Okay. You can't, your phone, I had to turn mine over because you probably got 10 notifications of what's happening in the Strait of Hormuz. Did you even know where that was?
Yeah,
did you even know what a Hormuz was? No clue. But you get that notification every 5 minutes that gas prices are up. In California, they're $8 a gallon right now. Okay. They're telling you that all these things are happening. Steel is up 25%. Everything's happening. They know that, man. They knew that before they fucking walked in. Why are you going to shit all over them with your, you need to vote this way, you need to vote that way, or did you see where Trump did this, or you see where Biden did this, or whatever? Leave it, dude. Well, but my job is to, no, it's not. You're an entertainer. That's what I am anyway, I think.
So you consider, is there any kind of thing that you're trying to impart to people though, a little bit, like maybe lessons on live?
Just be happy. Just be happy. Just I want you to laugh. I don't want anything else from you. I don't need anything else from you. I just want you to laugh and have a good evening. When we're done, I want you to be able to walk by me and go, that was a lot of fun. You're great. Thank you for doing that. And I'd like to see a follow-up message or something online that says, hey, went to your show last night. We had a great time. Okay. I don't want to invoke any thought. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to lead anybody. I don't want to have any persuasion. That's not of my interest right now. Right now, for me, it doesn't fit. I'm a 50-year-old man that has 50-year-old problems. My kids I'm about to be an empty nester. My wife and I are looking at a second phase in life. So you want me to get up there and talk about chasing pussy? I don't even
come on.
Literally. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to get there and talk about that. I can't stand listening to these comics get up and talk about graphically banging their wives and stuff or whatever. I'm like, dude, you know what? There's a man and a woman. There's a husband and a wife right there. And you know what? They're not enjoying this. Well, okay. Well, I'm going to tell them about how they should be a liberal. Okay. Well, you know what? There's 3 conservative people right there who are, they're a family or whatever. They don't need to hear that. Well, I'm going to tell them they should be a conservative. Well, there's 3 other liberals right there. Well, this is what can you joke about? Something funny? Yeah. Can you do that? Can you make us laugh?
I feel like it goes back to, like, we talk about a lot, but it's like your personal experience. That's all you really can speak to. It's like
nobody can hack your shit if it happened to you.
If it's like very personal, I think that's kind of the key, is just make it personal. Make, like you were saying, talking about your 50-year-old problems with your wife or your kids or whatever. It's like, that's coming from you.
Right. Or if you'll see me in the room. In other words, what's happening in this room? Let me talk about what's going on.
I was very impressed at Tower, because you kind of start us off, you kind of MC the rhythm up front.
Yeah, I take the bullet. Yeah.
And it was like, I just remember it was like, man, it's so effortless. Like, I can't believe it was like you would talk about something, then, oh, there's a joke. Hey, your face, that's a joke. And I was like, that's really impressive.
Well, thank you. That is, if I could do a show entirely just like that, I would. But I don't want to, because I know I have to. It's got to be structured and organized for their benefit, right? Because otherwise you're going to go off on these tangents. And I've seen good comics go off on tangents where they're like, and then when they feel it eating shit, they don't get back to center, and then they do the next worst thing, and that is, so what do you do for a living? Then it becomes a Nielsen poll. Where are my pot smokers at? It's like, I always, when I come across new MCs, that's the first thing I tell them: when you're up, don't ask any questions whatsoever. Well, but that's how I kind of get the credit. Don't do it. Let me tell you why. There's a back mic, and the dude makes the announcements. God bless him. We're here in Oklahoma City. Larry at Looney Bin, Oklahoma City. Larry, before it was the owner, him and his wife, would go up, and he would do it from the back mic. And Larry's he's an older guy. He's a rough and he's a veteran, and he's like, listen, if you need to talk on your phone or you need to have a conversation, you need to go outside and be together. You don't need to be together in my room because you're interrupting the show for everybody else. And then he'd have his doorman walk around with a flashlight, just waving at people's faces while he's telling everybody that. So in other words, you're not going to fucking talk during our show. So the back mic says, hey, don't talk, don't heckle. Right. Okay. and keep your table conversation to a minimum. Turn your phones off right now. Okay.
I remember
Bring it to the stage, coming up to the MC. And then the MC comes on the stage and goes, "How you motherfuckers doing?" Like, we're good.
Right.
All right, where my weed smokers at? And then we're taking a poll. But we just got done saying, don't talk. But they're like, well, they're confused. Like, okay, well, I guess we should talk then. He's asking me questions. So where do you work? What do you do? And they're doing crowd work for 10 minutes. Then the feed track goes up and he or she only has 25 minutes to get all their material in, because most of the time features are on the cusp of headlining. So they got 25 minutes, they're having to squeeze it all in 25 minutes. But the people are like, we want to tell you things. We've got responses for you. Right. Well, I didn't ask any questions, so shut up. That was the other guy.
This episode of Rhythm Wit was brought to you by Campbell & Son Electric, Oklahoma City's trusted one-truck electrical contractor with over 20 years of experience in the field. Whether it's upgrading your home's electrical service, troubleshooting issues, or tackling small commercial projects, Campbell & Son Electric delivers top-notch work with care and attention you'd expect from a family business. Servicing areas like Del City, Edmond, Yukon, Mustang, and beyond, they're your go-to for reliable expert service. Need help with your next project? Visit CampbellandSonElectric.com today and get it done right the first time. Campbell & Son Electric, brightening Oklahoma, one wire at a time.
Well, I did want to talk about.
Okay.
There was a lot.
Whatever you want to do, and we can abbreviate it.
Yeah, we can.
Tower City.
Okay.
Mostly just, we went from, hey, this is where, you built your own thing. Now you're building a thing for Tower City. And, you mentioned your purpose. Like, hey, if something with a good purpose will end up being good, something with a bad purpose.
Yeah, it starts out wrong, ends up wrong.
Yeah. And so you built this festival. And for me, being a younger comedian, adolescent comedian, almost a larva, if you would.
Psycho.
I went, when I went, it was so much to learn. You did the panels. You're very much open as a person, just asking questions.
Sure.
There's a lot of, just getting that many people in one place that are comics and having those conversations.
Nice. It's not a nice festival. It's not a cool festival.
Right.
Let me tell you what it is. We accept between 80 and 100 people for this thing. When it's all done and said with, about 60 of them, sometimes less than that, can make it, because that's just life. And the way we accept submissions is everybody's scored from 1 to 5 by 5 independent judges. I'm not one of them. That's the first thing. That's something I want to go back to. When you see any show that I produce, okay, if I'm not the headliner, I'm not on the poster. I don't do anything. None of that, because it's, to me, I'm robbing the headliner of A, stage time, or B, the recognition that he or she deserves. I'm selling them. I was telling Esperanza Moses last night, she had me on the phone pinned for an hour, and sweet lady, but she's a new producer, 2 years in, and a comic. And she was asking some of these same questions. And I said, one of the things you'll notice is that unless it's a road show for me, you don't know when I'm doing shows in Paris. You don't need to know. Same thing with the festival. If I get on stage, it's to take the bullet. It's to get up there, break ice, 10 minutes, and then hand it off to whoever's going to do it. And I don't want any recognition. I don't even wear a name badge. I'm not on anything. You look through the lineup. I have never been on the lineup in 9 years. Won't do it. I look at other festivals. I open up and I know who runs them, and I see their names headlining the shows. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? You're bringing all these people in from out of town. Some of these people come from California. We had people come from Canada. We had that one dude that was in the States, but he came from Hong Kong, came to our festival. So you have all these people that come in and you're stealing stage time from them. How dare you? Get out of the way. Give that 10 minutes to somebody else, divide it up. That's my theory. Could be wrong. Don't know. But it always comes out in the wash is the way I see it, So go back to the point of doing that. So when we score them all, anybody that has 20 and over is automatically in. Okay.
That's a 5 from every judge. Right?
That's right. Yes. And then from 15 to 19, they take the top 20 out of that group. Okay. Then they go from 11 to 14 and they take the top 20 out of that group. Okay. Then the rest are alternatives, maybe. But that's the whole point. We'll get 400 submissions, and so we'll approve 100 of them, and that's how we approve them. So that you have Chris Grace was on 5 seasons of Superstore, the TV show. He submitted to our festival, And I had no clue because I'm not one of the judges.
Right.
And then when I had to send out the letters, I was like, that dude's on fucking TV. Okay. Then the next night, Luke Knoll, who was on Saturday Night Live, was a submission. And I had no clue. That dude flew in from LA, did his 10-minute spot on Saturday night, then went to Dallas, and then went home. And I was like, oh, see, that's what I'm saying. Get off the stage. Right. Give them everything you can. I owe it to him. So with that being said, there's your A group. Okay. Yeah. So we're going to mix those A group with some B group.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I like how you have like 20 from this range, 20 from, it's like you take some from the lower end too, just to have a variety and get people.
It's awesome during the panels to watch, because you watch the questions. You'll see somebody go, I've got 150,000 followers on this platform, and I've got to parlay that into this and that. And then like, okay. And then the next question, how do I get my local club to let me show up on Wednesdays? Right. You know,
hey man, why you say my question like that?
No, that was Liz's voice. That's my impression.
That's our bedtime voice.
But that's for that purpose right there. So now I've got a festival that other people can really get something out of that'd be worthwhile. That's why I said our festival is not nice. It's that we don't have a beautiful facility. We don't have all these other things for the people to do, but you're going to learn something. You're going to network with somebody.
Get to meet people.
You got something to take back with you, and it works. It works a lot. It's amazing to see some of the people that have networked out of that and that stay in communication and help each other out, because you don't know who's going to be. Our first year, Ralph Barbosa was a entry. You know, Ralph Barbosa used to MC for me. Okay.
Yeah.
And then yesterday he posted a photograph of him with his arm around Adam Sandler, Eddie Murphy, and Dave Chappelle at the Netflix is a Joke Festival. Yeah. You know,
we had to get like way up there.
Yeah. 9 years ago, he was emceeing for me at Hyenas Comedy Club. Wow. You don't know who's going to pop out of this. Oh, Casey Rowland, Casey Rocket. 3 years, our second or third year, he came to our festival. He was moving to Texas. He was living out of his car, broke, nothing to, no money, no place to live. Was heading to Austin, did our festival. We saw him do his 5-minute show twice, and we were like, that kid's got something that we can't put our finger on. Right. That's going to be good. Nice. He gets to Austin, becomes a doorman, and then becomes a regular, and he's off and running, and he's done great things. You just don't know. Bring him in.
It's crazy.
So, and then you offer that opportunity to people, and they come in and grow, and so is that what got you going on that? I mean, is that why you started it? Or?
No, initially it was started for the wrong reason. It started 9 years ago. This was about the time I had to back down a lot of my performance work. So I thought, well, something I could do is put together a festival. Let me put together a short one.
It was like where you're not really having to do, you can just manage and do a lot of
producing. Yeah. It's basically producing. And my money was going to come from sponsors. Yeah. Right. I have sponsors that I incorporate in, and I do very well with it. Like I said, I have repeat sponsors that have for 8-9 years. Some of them were sponsors of the club before we even started the festival. And then they just rolled in and became part of it on an annual basis. So I get a check from them once a year, and that's for the festival, and that's for the other deal. And then submissions pay for our judges that watch the videos. And by the way, we don't tell anybody who the judges are until it's over. Nobody, but usually it's a comic, a producer. I try to get it like a college kid because I want somebody young to look at it. Okay. And then I'll get like a person in radio or TV. So that you have somebody who's looking for stage presence. They're looking for presentation. Okay. And then often it's another booker, and I have to rotate between them. And I've utilized my son was in it 1 year. I've got a cousin that I allowed him to be a part, because then you have somebody who's not in the industry, who's going, that's funny. That's funny to me as a regular person. Then you have industry who's so callous to it. I've seen so much comedy in 25 years that
you kind of look at it completely differently.
Kind of like you mentioned. I mean, your palette is different now.
It's different.
It's completely
Show me
different.
something I haven't seen. Because otherwise, or something I'm going to understand, or something I'm going to like, or whatever. You know, it's just that way. You just grow into it. You know.
Well, I was listening back to some music that just came out, you know, and some bands that just came out here recently, and one of the things I noticed is like, oh, I've heard this before, you know, like because I'm from when we were younger, it's you know, or I've played that note a bunch of times too.
A lot of sampling, indirectly,
a lot of repeated words without intent or purpose.
Oh, interesting.
But it just sounds good. It does sound good.
It's recycling.
As they get, you know, you see the second, the fourth album, second, third, fourth, you start to see, you know, Fleetwood Mac. You see all this like very strong, you know, they're actually writing like poetry. They're actually paying attention instead of like, all right, we're going to say big butts this time.
You know, like, oh, you know what rhymes with that? Nuts. Let's do that.
Damn, we got both.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's how a comic is. You know, it's like you'll come across a premise like, I use the app Bits. I don't know if y'all are familiar with that. That's a good one, yeah. Okay, y'all are familiar with that?
Okay.
And so I'll write stuff down in my Bits app. There it is. And I'll come across something that I think is funny. And some of the stuff will stick around for a long time. Okay. I saw YMCA, the song came on. And I was like, I'm going to be honest. It was never fun staying at the YMCA. Think about it. Why are you staying at the YMCA? Because you're homeless. Yeah. Shit's not got right for you. Why is it fun to stay at the YMCA? That's what the village people have been trying to tell me. So I hear that. I go, okay, there's something there. So what I have to knead it out. I always look at
YMCA propaganda, dude.
I always look at it like bread, like dough.
Yeah.
You know, and then there it is. There's now I'm going to knead it out. I'm going to bush it out and see if I can make something out of this. There's another one that, super simple throwaway. I thought it was so funny. Last week I gave blood. They gave it right back. There's nothing to it. Simple. There's nothing else to it. Just simple. I don't know if it's funny or not yet. I don't know where it's at, but it's just the thought of it could be the timing. Like, you know, last week I gave blood and they gave it right back. Yeah. There's something about like just nonchalantly, they didn't want it. You know, it had too much cholesterol in it. It was not good.
That could. I mean, that's good. That's that could fit in somewhere. I mean, you never know. It could be a little tag or something, right?
I'd be like, maybe something happened to you and it traveled and then got back to you.
Yeah.
Like, now it's in you again.
So you mean like the blood?
Yeah. Like I was like, it went on a trip, and then it's like
I gave blood last week. Yesterday I was in a head-on collision and back in. I got it. Full circle. Yeah.
Knew it was compatible.
I have stuff that's like 10, 20 years old that trans fat, that's transgender overweight people. The words biscuit machine. I don't know why that's something.
Biscuit machine.
Yeah. A mouse. Okay. I think somebody had done something like this. So I'll write it, store it, and go, okay, I'm going to see if I can find it. A wife found a mouse in the house. She put a bounty on its head. She's like, you need to kill it. I was like, the fuck I will. I can't kill it. I don't have that instinct. So I bought one of those glue pads and I put a glue pad down and I caught it. Now what do I do with it? Drown it? I can't do that. Right. Hit it with a hammer? I don't have the heart to do that. So I just cut around its feet to let it go. And now it has little shoes. That's fun. And now my wife could hear him coming. You know, it's like, That's silly. So that stuff will just stay there. Cheese bread is just naked pizza. There's granddog mother. I hate when I had somebody tell me that. She goes, oh, I can't be there. I'm going to have to watch my granddog. I'm sorry, you're watching your kid's dog, so you call yourself a granddog mother? Stupid.
I thought it was the dog's kid.
Yeah, I was like, this is making...
That's funny, dude.
And then, like, growing up, my grandmother, older white woman, said things that just were like, what? You know, like if a cat looked pregnant, then their breasts would hang, and rather than saying boobs or tits or breasts, my grandmother called them her dinners. And I don't know why. I don't know why I dislike that so much. Yes, oh but that's that
ruined dinner for you. Dude.
Yeah, right. Dinners
or made it better.
Yeah.
Try
that's so good.
There's so much stuff in here that's so bad that you're like, someday, something might. I mean,
figure out the twist.
You pull it out. How do you pick what to pull out? I mean,
I don't know.
You just kind of feel it out.
Something will happen. Like I wrote one 24 years ago and I never used it. My dad would spank us when we were kids, back when you were allowed to, and he would use his belt. and we were white trash kids. So it was inevitable that his name would be on my ass from his belt from spanking me. And the problem is we have the same name, but I would have to explain to the kids who Lerad was. Just never came to fruition. Right. Just never quite felt right. We can do it for fun if you want. We can find one. I got a bunch of them that. When I'm at a high school football game and I see a big cheerleader, I assume the cheer coach is an incredible structural engineer, and we're going to see a pyramid of a lifetime. There's a lot of things.
So you're writing bits. What's your writing process? You just see it and you put it down, or you take the time to do it?
Quickly write something down because I'm going to forget about it later. I'm notorious for in a show doing something and then yelling out, whoever's the feature, write this down. Write these words down because I never record it. My problem, like everybody's videotaping. I don't know if that's the phrase we use these days, but they're videoing their sets.
Right.
I have a hard enough time making it to the venue with all my merchandise and stuff that I don't want to bring in a damn camera and set it up. And then I had the same problem because all mine are, I use GoPros because they're light and they're easy, and they're all 13s. And I've got 4 of them, I think, and I got clamps on them, and I can go put them places, and I can run them from my phone. Right. But when it's time to go, I'm not thinking about hitting record. And then I go up there and I look and I don't see a red light. I'm like, forget about it. So I'll have to yell like, write these words down. And I did it the other day with somebody, Tyler Elliott. And I believe he texted him to me. I have to look and see. But it's like, okay. And then it's just a tag that I came up with or an add-on or, words themselves are funny. It's never, it's such a fascinating thing how a sentence can change form by just saying the words differently. Word selection and word inflection are 2 of the most powerful things in stand-up comedy. Choosing the right word and then saying it the correct way.
And the timing of
unbelievable.
It too, right?
I'm sure you're probably familiar with the old salesman Zig Ziglar who used to do all the motivational stuff. He used to have a thing that he would write down a sentence that said, I didn't say they stole the money. And if you highlighted the word I, that's referencing I didn't say he stole the money. I didn't say he stole the money. No, I didn't say he stole the money. I implied it. I didn't say he stole the money. It was somebody else. I didn't say he stole the money. He stole something else.
I didn't say he stole money.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I remember that. My mom was reading a bunch of those books way back in the day, and I remember she kind of relayed that. That's so interesting, man.
It's fascinating. It hasn't changed.
20 ways to say one thing.
That's right. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. And all it takes is for you to change either the way it comes out or the word that you say, and it changes everything. Right. And and you're either going to make a friend or you're going to get stabbed. Right. That's the truth. Yeah. It really is. And so you learn that. And it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Yeah. There you go. Well, Daryl, thank you so much, man. We got to start getting ready for the show.
I got some more I want to say.
Okay. Well, Dave will be with you. I'm going to go yell at people.
Appreciate you guys having me.
I hope this was worthwhile.
Can't wait to see your set tonight.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I don't know if we're going to do this.
But thank you so much. And tell people where they can find you.
Yeah. You can go to darylfelsberg.com. It's FELSBERG. And I spell it the right way. It's DARYL. And then same thing on all the social media at Daryl Felsberg.
Yeah. Well, guys, thanks so much. Like, subscribe, the whole thing. Campbell & Son Electric. Buy from us. And Dave, you want to say something?
See you next week.